Hi, and thanks for joining us this New Year's Eve for the Decade in Review, the political segment. We'd like to take a moment of silence for the crew of the Challenger and their families, for the students killed over in Beijing while protesting in Tiananmen Square, as well as the lives that have already been claimed by AIDS. Thank you for that moment of silence. We'd also like to celebrate the rise of the new right, the destruction of the Berlin Wall, and give a praise to our brilliant President Reagan for the Star Wars Defension military plan, as well as Reaganomics. Okay. How about we hear straight from a member of the Generation Me about the past decade? Hi, I'm Rebecca White, and we are here with Lexi, and we are asking questions about this decade. So, Lexi, what stood out to you the most about this decade?
Sandra Day O'Connor was elected into the U.S. Supreme Court as the first woman, so girl power.
So, Lexi, how do you feel about what do you think about the rise of the new right?
For a conservative political group made up of mostly evangelical Christians and defenders of capitalism, it's doing pretty well. Yeah,
That's awesome.
I support it.
Good, great. Okay, so how has Reagan's term been for you?
Well, I really appreciate Reaganomics and the decrease in taxes. That's great. Buy more stuff now. And I'm glad he came up with his defensive military plan for our boys in the military called Star Wars, and I think that's a really clever name considering the film has been such a hit. I loved it. Did you see it?
I did. I loved it. And now let's hear from our reporter Richard Anderson about the economics in this decade.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm reporting live from Washington, D.C. This decade has had a lot of rough times. In 1982, the unemployment rate rose from 5.1% to 9% from January to May. Also in 1982, there was a deep recession where business bankruptcies rose 50% over the previous year.
Bam.
Farmers especially struggled throughout this decade. As agricultural exports declined, crop prices fell, and interest rates grew. In 1983, inflation slowed down and the economy rebounded. The economy started to grow again. Inflation rate remained below 5% throughout the 80s. And now back to Rebecca White.
Thanks, Rich. And now we'll hear from our obnoxiously young intern about what was considered cool in the past decade.
Thanks, Rebecca, and thanks for joining me for this year's Decade in Review Pop Culture. Throughout this decade, Michael Jackson, Prince, Madonna, U2, Bruce Springsteen, Van Halen, and Billy Joel kept constantly at the top of all the music charts. Exactly where they should be, if you ask me. Also, could I just mention that I believe that Hollywood has entered another golden age in this past decade, with great releases in the movie theater like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Pretty in Pink, E.T., Indiana Jones, and the new Star Wars, all sure to be classics eventually. Also, for all you gamers, Super Mario Bros. 3 was just released earlier this year, along with, in this decade, Tetris, Donkey Kong, and Defender, which are all topping the game charts. And I personally think we should be very thankful to be putting those parachute pants, miniskirts, leg warmers, and shoulder pads away, at least for a while. I mean, our relatives won't dig them up or anything, right? So thanks for joining us for this special Decade in Review, and now we'll go live to Josh Minder to wrap it up.